And welcome to another special edition of the ETPU Sportsnet, where right now we are currently in the midst of dealing with all these interviews in the midst of this pandemic going on. As we all know, fall sports being moved to the spring, winter sports still up in the air, but it's probably going to be a heavy loaded spring semester. So that means that the spring semester is going to get heavy loaded. Speaking of heavy loaded, of course, pleased to be joined by somebody that's been tearing up the big leagues down there, or I should say up there in Michigan as well. Certainly one of the guys that I like talking to, of course, definitely a fan favorite on the ETBU baseball team. I'm talking, of course, about former ETBU baseball player Landen Barnes. And Landen joins us now, of course. I know you got a game later tonight, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But for right now, Landen, kind of talk about your whereabouts, what's been going on, how you've been handling with everything so far.
So right now I'm up in Utica, Michigan. It's about 45 minutes to an hour north of Detroit, so it's an easy drive down there. And it's super, green and naturey, kind of how East Texas is. So when I got up here and saw the trees, it kind of made me think that I was back home, playing in Marshall. But weather's nice. There's no humidity whatsoever, and it's kind of fun up here hearing people gripe and complain on how humid it is, and it's only like 30-40%, and we're used to like 70-80% down home sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think Utica kind of took some advice on Marshall. Hey, we're getting this player from East Texas Baptist University. Just make it a little more like God's country, to say the least. But
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So obviously, Landon, I think one of the biggest misconceptions from anybody is that the professional baseball leagues, it's just Major League Baseball where you have 30 teams and all this and that. But really, there are a lot more professional leagues, and you happen to be playing in one. So full details on what exactly this league that you're playing in is, and just kind of everything that you're going through at this point.
So just like the major league system, how there's like a handful of systems underneath, you have low A, high A, double A, triple A, and then obviously the major leagues. What I'm playing in is independent baseball, and it kind of runs the same way. There are about 5 or 6, decent leagues to play in, and they kind of run the same way as the major league systems do. You have beginner and development leagues all the way up to, what they call like the AAA leagues, which is a lot of guys that have been released from the upper classes of major league teams. And so that's what fulfills out the roster. So where I'm at is the United Shores Professional League, and it's what they call a development league. So roughly with this league, they want to get you developed and playing better than you were when you got in here, and they want to get you onto bigger and better organizations or different leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, an opportunity for you to improve, maybe hopefully make it to a minor league system, part of an organization. So maybe that's something that you like to, experience as well. But, obviously, of course, one of the perks of this league, obviously, as we found out, you were selected to play in the AllStar Game. So kind of talk about that experience and playing with the AllStar team.
I mean, it's definitely a privilege to consider yourself to be an all-star player, especially, when you get at the professional level, because forever on your resume, you get to say, I'm a professional baseball all-star, and I have that experience. And, we're doing the best with what we can up here with the quarantine and the limited fans. But, I can only imagine when the house is packed that it's, an absolute buzz all day. But, even with the guys going, for both teams that played the home run derby and everything, it was still just an atmosphere that's slightly different than college, knowing that, these guys are the best of the best that where you're at. So it was just fun all day, playing all day, home run derbies, you see guys and you kind of wish you could hit a ball that far. I told a couple people that if I stood on second base, I still couldn't hit a ball as far as some of they could. But, just seeing everybody come together and the best of the best inside one professional league was really fun to experience.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, I feel like you can definitely hit one from second base and maybe from home plate as well. But obviously, this league, of course, one thing, United Shores Professional League, obviously, 4 teams. You're on the West Side Woolly Mammoths. That's the team that you're on. I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
if whoever came up with these teams was a big fan of the Ice Age movies or so, or maybe something like that, but kind of a little crazy to say the least. But anyways, it's always nice to be on a team, depending on, of course, you have all these ridiculous names. Like I think there was one baseball team, the Baby Cakes from New Orleans at one point. But anyways, so Landon, let's go back to when you first arrived at ETBU, obviously. Just kind of talk about how everything transitioned for you just coming to ETBU.
Oh man, I remember having my visit with Hood, and that was one scared kid that was in that meeting room with him, and I didn't do a lot of I guess you could call it bragging about myself to kind of entice myself to him on why I should be on the team, because I don't like doing that a lot, but I remember him coming up to me after my freshman fall and saying, "Yeah, you were one of the biggest surprises we've had out here." And so, him to say that as a freshman really meant a lot, and, gave me encouragement that, I could play at that level, and, potentially depending on how I played, I could play farther.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think back, like to the 2017 squad where it really seemed like you kind of came out, and next thing you know, you're starting in the championship series, to say the least, and all that. But I really felt like you were kind of the player that seemed to be up and coming. And then your final two seasons, obviously, that was where you really started to develop yourself from being just a role player to potentially one of the top players on the team as well. Now, obviously, you had to learn a lot from the veteran players, the Connor Combs, the Zach Comptons, the Bryce Winters, and all those guys, to say the least. How was it to learn from those veteran players and obviously apply that to the young guys by the time you left to where they can continue the success of the program? What was it like having an opportunity to learn from some of those players that had been through the struggles before and sharing that with the younger ones?
Oh man, it was great to say the least. So I spent obviously freshman, sophomore, pretty much on the left side of the infield with Zach and Dynas. And I remember, there'd be days where Hood would get on me because I was young, and then Zach and or Dynas would come over to me and give me a couple words of encouragement, or break down what he was trying to say, because sometimes he'd say things and go a million miles an hour in one ear out the other. I just couldn't retain it all. So them being older were able to slow down everything, even in practice, and just kind of let me know, you know, it's going to be okay. This is one day. He's not mad at you. And so, growing up junior year, kind of felt a little bit of a struggle because everybody had left. We were considered a young team. And, that year I felt like I was trying to do too much. And, that made me learn that, all the home runs and all the, rah-rah stuff, I'm going to leave that to Casey. I'm going to leave that to Seth. I'm going to leave that to Zach. I had to be a situational guy to where, I could get up and, get on base and, get it to them so they could hit the big home runs, be the rah-rah guy. And, as a junior and senior, I would tell guys who were struggling and that I saw Hood, I guess, getting on during practice, I would walk over to them and pretty much tell them the same things that the leaders told me. I would break it down for them. I tell them to breathe. It's just one day. It's fine. And I would tell them, I said, this is what the old guys told me. And I said, this is what I'm telling you. And when we're gone, the core 7 of us last year, when we're gone, this is what you have to tell the young guys when you're older.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like, you kind of apply that leadership in your senior season and all that with the team that you were on in 2019. Obviously, maybe not the strongest team and talent-wise, but certainly guys that were very capable of applying leadership and just knowing that, hey, the program, you're trying to continue to keep the program in good hands, to say the least. Obviously, this past season, maybe not so much, but hopefully for the near future that it can continue as well. So, one of the themes that we have going on here is Tigers Unite, basically where we're trying to unite through a time of crisis, to say the least. Was there any sort of examples that you can provide where maybe there was some adversity hit on the team and how you were able to stay together as far as getting yourself, focused on the ultimate goal and to try not to let those adversities hit you, and to say the least?
Yeah, for sure. I feel going back, right after sophomore year when we lost, Compton, Connor, Raider, Cam, Bryce, we lost the core part of our, team. And, Casey, Seth, Gardner, Sumter, and myself going into our junior year, we felt like it was kind of all on our shoulders. And we didn't have a terrible year by means, but compared to the previous two that we had been with, it was kind of a disappointment year. And, finished 8th in the conference, barely snuck into the conference tourney. I believe went 2 and out, came home, and it was kind of, defeating. And it was like, can we do this? And then we all realized that, yes, we can. We're so much better than, that past season, because we were all trying to be the guy, and not, you can't have 7 guys trying to be one guy. You have to have 7 guys understanding their role and being those 7 different type of guys to help the team. And I feel like, once we figured that out senior year, obviously, it was a breeze and it was a blast, because we were all doing our thing, doing our jobs, and it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. That really led to another strong season, the ETBU, to say the least. So obviously, Landon, of course, your time in the ETBU, any strong memories that you can recall? Like, what's the thing that you're going to miss most about it? And, like, is there any memory that stands out to you the most about, have your time at ETBU?
I mean, just kind of being, family with the boys, bus rides, dinners, locker rooms, jokes, pranks, just being around that group of family every day for, 2 semesters. You really become close, and it's different when you're young, because the old guys you might not be so close to. They graduate, then you're a sophomore, and you're kind of close with the seniors, and they graduate, and you're a junior, and you spent 3 years with the current seniors, and they graduate, and then you're the senior. And so you just kind of take in, every moment you can, even with the younger freshmen. If they're annoying or not, you just kind of be like, okay, I was annoying as a freshman. People had to deal with me. And it's just, being up here, you kind of miss all the time with the boys doing, who knows what.
Absolutely. One final question. I don't know if you apply the current extra inning rules where you start off the second runner at second base in the professional leagues. So I can tell by your nodding that they actually do.
They started it this year.
Okay, yeah. Because I was just kind of thinking, I've been having this debate back and forth with myself, if that's really good or if that's really kind of bad, because right now the chances of the team scoring. But I don't know from your perspective what you think about it and whether it's probably a good thing or a bad thing. But
we've only gone into extra inning 1 game, and I remember after we were tied heading into extras, I was together with the infielders, and I was like, I went over bunt coverages real quick, because I didn't know if it was going to happen, but at the same time, like, I wanted to have some type of, preparation just in case something happened. We weren't just running around chicken with our head cut off. So it was, I guess you could say, I was kind of freaking out about the bunt play, and then they didn't end up bunting. So at the end of the day, I was like, well, you know what? At least we talked about it in case we run into it next time. But it's a little different starting guy on second. You're like, ground ball here, he scores. We have a lot on our plate to get ready for the next half.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, Landon. Well, thanks so much for taking your time. We know you have the game tonight. Good luck with that, and good luck with the rest of your way. And we look forward to talking to you more sometime down the line in the future.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much.
That's Landon Barnes, former ETBU baseball player, and I'm Kenneth the K-Rock Klein saying so long, and we'll see you next time on the ETBU Sportsnet.